what is the intention of that shower? On a Friday, مثلا, لم يبقى لك إلا كم? How many minutes was left for you, for example, for you to go to the masjid before the khutbah begins? Maybe 1 hour. In that hour, if you just go and rush into the bathroom and take a shower and you leave, would it be similar to the one who literally intended when they went to take the shower for the purpose of Friday? They say that I am taking this bath as a ritual bath so that I can prepare myself for Friday. Would it be similar? No. It wouldn't. It's similar to it's a similar example to the one who drives from one place to another while you don't know, whereas we don't know where the other one is going because they have no intention or plan, while the other driver already has intended and has a plan, knowing exactly where they're going. Understood? And at the same time, مثلا, for example, Hajj and Umrah. Hajj and Umrah is the only ibadah that you pronounce the niyyah. أليس كذلك? That's correct, isn't it? It's the only ibadah you do so. The rest of the other ibadat is all in the محلها القلب. إلا عند الشافعية التلفظ بها سنة. To pronounce the niyyah intention is sunnah. But we said also على المستنكح, the one who has chronic doubt, what does he do? He pronounces the intention so that he can have his mind and his conscience clear, inshaAllah ta'ala. Then we talked about, at the end of the fara'id al-wudu, we mentioned a few things which were important. One of them is al-muwalah. Al-muwalah is literally to follow up. Is it al-muwalah? The word exactly, is it al-muwalah? We said al-fawr, afwan. هناك فرق بين الموالاة والفور. Al-muwalah is to follow an order. Al-fawr is not to follow an order, is to be quick enough after every single part of your body that you wash. Fawran, what does that mean? Fawran means when you do something, idhab fawran, go quickly, to be quick. That's what it means. Understood? فالفور بمعنى السرعة. تسرع في غسل أعضائك. You be quick on washing your limbs. Then we bore the question of what if someone literally becomes busy in the middle of the wudu and then their limbs become dry. Do they start again from the beginning or do they continue from there? And there are other masail which I left out. I wouldn't want to mention this over here in this class, not even the previous one also, for a reason, because it's going to be too much. If we start covering piece by piece, we're not going to reach anywhere. Our aim is to first just get out of this position where we don't know, and then if you want to build from there, that's when you go to the next stage, inshallah. Is that very clear? So, مثلا, we said earlier when we started the classes, this is a very small text. Very small text. Mas'alatul hayd wal nifas. The periodic monthly cycle for women is not mentioned in here. For example, after birth, postnatal bleeding and all of that, it's not mentioned in here. مثلا, for example, mas'alatul ru'af, nose bleeding, it's not mentioned in here as well. But what's mentioned is the very basic. I wouldn't even take you to the rest of what the book does not contain. I will just give you from Masail al-Salah faqat. I hope that makes sense. مثلا another مسألة المسح على الجبيرة والمسح على الخف. Wiping on top of your leather socks, or maybe wiping on top of what do you call it? If you get an injury and you're with a big plastic, a cast. Wiping on top of a cast, isn't it? All of those are not masail mentioned over here. So this is literally a very beginner text. But it's enough to take you from one stage to another, inshallah. Now what we covered after that, we said about mas'alatul lihya, isn't it? Ghaslul lihya. What do you do? It depends on your beard. If your beard is thick, well and good, you don't really have to go through it. But if your beard is thin, and how do we define thin? If you can't see through your skin, isn't it? That's what we said, inshallah. And the ulama, they talk about مثلا, they go even further to وَأَمَّا مَا تَحْتَ أَظْفَارِكَ فَلَا يَجِبُ عَلَيْكَ غُسْلُهُ. If there is anything under your nails, that's fine. لذلك قال ابن رشد في مقدمته, he has a book called مقدمة ابن رشد. He said وَوَسَخُ الْأَظْفَارِ إِن تَرَكْتَهُ فَمَا عَلَيْكَ حَرَجٌ أَوْ زِلْتَهُ. And the dirt of your adfar, that you have on your nails. If you are to let go of it, فَمَا عَلَيْكَ حَرَج. You don't have any haraj on that. أَوْ زِلْتَهُ وَاجْمَعْ رُؤُوسَهَا بِوَسَطِ الْكَفِّ وَاغْسِلْ فَإِنَّ غَسْلَ ذَلِكَ يَكْفِي. Understood? You can put all of your adfar like this and just wash them like that. It's enough. رؤوس الأظفار. What is رؤوس الأظفار? Where are the head of your nails? At the very top, just like that. But for you to do this and all of that, you don't have to do that. You will damage your nails and you hurt yourself. That's how the Sharia is more concerned about people taking care of themselves and not just imposing. What we are doing is not being imposed to do something. Does that make sense? We're not in a position of being forced. But in fact, Allah is trying to make life easier for you and I. إن الدين يسر ولن يشاد الدين أحد إلا غلبه. فلذلك نستمر إن شاء الله تعالى. انظروا إلى متونكم. Look at your matn. He says that سنن الوضوء. In سنن الوضوء ثم أشار إلى القسم الثاني. فكما قال المصنف رحمه الله تعالى نفعنا الله به وبعلومه في الدارين. وأما سنن الوضوء فثمانية. ويقول صاحب أسهل المسالك وقل ثمان عدة المسنون فابدأ بغسل اليد للكوعين. Even in أسهل المسالك, which is put together by Imam Muhammad al-Bashar, but it is the text of من هذا للفاضل السهائي إبراهيم شيخ إبراهيم السهائي حباه مولاه الرضا المقيمة. Do you see the beauty of memorizing a matn? مثلا, if you do not remember the name, you go back to the matn, you remember the name. You forget a mas'ala, you go back to the matn, you remember the mas'ala. But you have to memorize it. It has to be a ritual in your life. It's a boring task, I'll be very honest with you, and you'll be very lonely. But when you memorize it, you feel good later on. Especially when you want to retrieve the ilm. وأما سنن الوضوء فثمانية فنتفق على هذا. We agree on that. The sunan of wudu, there are 8. أولها غسل اليدين إلى الكوعين. And Al-Amin, as you're using the sharh, I would advise you to take a highlighter. You see what I did in mine? Highlight those which are the matn part of the book. Okay? You use the matn. If anyone has the sharh مثلا, you use the matn and the sharh, you highlight the matn. And then you leave the sharh out. So you will know this is the matn, this is the sharh. And whenever you want to highlight a mas'ala because you want to remember it, if you can't read Arabic, that's why I advise you to learn Arabic. Once you can read it, highlight it with a different color. So what I have done is I've highlighted the matn on purple or pink. My wife keeps on telling me I have a problem with seeing colors. Yeah, so I don't know whether this is purple or pink at the moment. But then I have the more or less like yellowish, greenish. That's the one I use for the sharh if I want to highlight something. Understood? That's an example I'm giving you. But it would depend on yourself which one you would want to use, inshallah. So he said the first one is غسل اليدين إلى الكوعين حين الشروع في الوضوء. It is to wash your hands all the way to the core. لكن العلماء يقولون that the whole thing is not the core. The core is only one side. And they explain it over here as well. What do they provide? Is that the core in itself, you find that is this. هو المفصل الذي بين الكف والذراع. Understood? This is the core, لكن the rusgh is between here. بين الكف والذراع. This is the ذراع and this is the hand. There's a hook over here as well. That is separate. And then you have another hook, which has another name as well, which is known as karsugh. Karsugh. That's what they call it. But in simple terms, this whole part of your hook is known as, you call it core. You want to make it very simple, just call it core in Arabic. So this is your wrist. Your wrist. You wash your hands all the way to your wrist. Now, does that mean you just do this without washing the edges and the corners of your fingers? No, it means you have to include everything. Understood? Even when you wash, you do this as well. You wash even your hands. لذلك you notice while doing wudu, when you're washing your hands, what does he say? What does he say over here? مثلا وغسل اليدين إلى الكعبين, isn't it? And over here he said غسل اليدين إلى المرفقين. When he says اليد, the ulama اختلفوا في هل هذا من اليد, is this from the hand? هل هذه من اليد أم لا? هل هذه من اليد أم لا. The ulama, they had اختلاف. لكن الأصح, this is part of the hand. It goes all the way to the elbow. So when you're washing your hands, while washing all the way to your elbows, you have to include the washing of your fingers. Your fingers have to go through the middle of your fingers over here, and then you go all the way to your elbow. If you don't do that, لم يتم وضوءك. Your wudu has not become complete. Understand that. But what we are talking about here now is the sunnah of wudu, which is just to begin your washing. What do you include as well? You include just the sides of your طرف الأصابع, which is the corners of the fingers as well. That's one. And I wouldn't want to go to so many details as well. هناك بيتان, there are two lines over here of shi'r which are written in regards to putting together the entire hand to the wrist. I don't just that. The ulama, they do that job to write it down so that it can be easy for you to remember all the time. Let's carry on inshallah. وثانيها, the second of that is al-madmadatu. It is to gargle water. Question is, if I put water in my mouth and then I just spit it out, would that be accepted? But I put water in my mouth. Would that be accepted? I put water in my mouth and then I just spit it out. Is that okay? Why is it not okay? But I can gargle water by just one side. It's fine. Is that okay? It's not okay yet. Gargling water has to go through all over your teeth, each one of them, each side, one side to the second. You don't do it one side, it goes all around, isn't it? That's what you do. So you gargle water like that, but you don't go to the wudu facilities and then you start going like that. No. You'll be annoying. Don't do that, inshallah. So you gargle water as well. وَهِيَ خَضْخَضَةُ الْمَاءِ فِي الْفَمِّ وَمَجُّهُ وَطَرْحُهُ. Understood? To move the water around, and then you do what? Put it together, spit it off. وَثَالِثُهَا الْإِسْتِنْشَاقُ. And then the fourth one, it goes together with the third one, al-istinfaru. Al-istinshaqu جذب الماء إلى داخل أنفه إلى داخل الأنف. Istinshaq is that's one part, by the way. It's not to do this. When you have water, you don't just go like, as long as it touched your nose. No. جذب الماء means you sniff the water in. So it has to go all the way to your nostrils. But it doesn't mean you take it all the way to your head and then you start feeling your entire head hurts. As if you went to swimming. No. You don't do that. Who happens to go through that when they go to swimming? You do, right? Hello. Do you? And your head feels nice after that. I know how it feels. So you don't sniff water like that. You just sniff enough to have the nose cleaned. Understood? You cleanse your nose like that. Al-istinfaru now is to literally tarhul ma, which is to let go of the water. Lakin, as you find in the sharh, it says وَهُوَ جَذْبُ الْمَاءِ مِنَ الْأَنْفِ إِلَى خَاء مِنَ الْأَنْفِ. Now notice this. That's why you notice النحو. What do they say? وبعد فإن المنطق للجنان كالنحو للسان. In Matn al-Sullam, what do they? I forgot a word a little bit, but what do they say? Mantiq, when you study logic for the mind, is similar to grammar for the tongue. If you read the sharh, he would say أن يجذب الماء إلى الأنف. Ila means to, which means you sniff it in. But when he says al-istintharu, he says وَهُوَ جَذْبُ الْمَاءِ. Same word, min al-anf, from. That's why sometimes we use min بمعنى الابتداء, which is the most simplest of grammar that you could look into. That's why Allah says سبحان الذي أسرى من بارك الله من المسجد الحرام إلى. Now min is from, that's where the journey started. من المسجد الحرام إلى, to المسجد الأقصى. And over here though it's flipped around. So you start with ila because you need to take the water into, and then you take the water out of. Does that make sense? Inshallah. That's number 4. وخامسها رد مسح الرأس. So what do we do next? We said, when you do the fard of wudu, how do you wipe your head? Do you wipe your head from here, or can you start from here? Or it doesn't matter, but what do you do? How do you wipe your head? Yes, Adam. Front to the back. Anyone else? Front to the back. Quarter head. ثلاث شعرات, if I'm not wrong, that's عند الحنفية. ربع الرأس, that's عند الشافعية. ربع. وإيش ثلاث شعرات? Any. Okay. Maybe ثلاث شعرات could be the Shafi'iyya, and then one of the ulama, one of them, other three other than the Malikiyya, they say quarter of your head. Some of them say that. And the Hanafiyya is quarter, right? Yeah. Then in the Shafi'iyya is 3, but for us it's no. من بمبة الشعر. أيوة. إلى آخر الشعر, to the end of your head. That's how you do it. لكن the fard, it doesn't matter where you start from. The sunnah over here, as he says, وَرَدُّ مَسْحِ الرَّأْسِ. Now, this is the sunnah. We haven't come to where to start. Understood? The fard is, it doesn't matter where you start from. Because if you read clearly in the text, in the matn, if you go back to the fara'id, what does he say? مَسْحُ جَمِيعِ الرَّأْسِ. Wiping the entire head, but he didn't specify. Okay? And then when he comes to the sunnah, he says, رَدُّ مَسْحِ الرَّأْسِ. Is if you started from here, you come all the way to the top, the sunnah now is to return. Does that make sense? The sunnah now is to return. Now, when do you start from here? We'll come to do that, inshallah. So let's move on. وَسَادِسُهَا مَسْحُ الْأُذُنَيْنِ ظَاهِرُهُمَا وَبَاطِنُهُمَا. And the ظاهرهما وباطنهما. The next one is, which is the 6th one, it is to wipe. Now, masah and ghusl are two different things. Ghusl, we said, is to wash. Masah is to wipe. Now, you don't go wash your ears. You'll be deaf. You wipe your ears. Now, do you stick your fingers, for example, like جَعَلُوا أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ وَأَصَرُّوا وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا اسْتِكْبَارًا? That you stick your fingers inside? No. That's not what you do. What you do is, you see, ظاهرهما. Now when you say the ظاهر, وباطنهما, you have this, which is, some of the ulama say that this is the ظاهر because this is the outside, but this is the inside. Do you understand that? This is the inside because this connects to your ears. And this outside is your outside, flaps on the back of your ears. So you wash them all together. Just the tips of your fingers go like this, and you make sure all of the lines of your ears are washed together. But then, number 7, what you need to understand, as far as understanding other madhahib, especially in the Hanafi, if I'm not wrong, as you wash your head, you can use the same water to wipe your ears. Is that correct? وعند المالكية لكن عند المالكية لا. عند المالكية no. وسابعها تجديد الماء لهما. You renew the water for the wiping of the ears. It's a sunnah. It's a sunnah. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Now he says here, mas'hul udhunayn. If I don't wipe my ears, is my wudu valid or not? Is my wudu valid or not? Because wiping the ears is sunnah. And we said we study this to know the difference of the sunnah and the fard and the fadila. For what reason? Not only that, there's a main factor that we mentioned, only one of them. What is it? Yes.
You said the time. You have enough time to do the food.
Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan. He's paying a lot of attention. The only way you can remember these masail, you need to revise a lot. So it depends on how you want to take it. If you want to enjoy the class, you can enjoy the class. But if you want to take it serious, you have to repeat the class constantly throughout the week. Understood? If you have less time, these masail, as I'm telling you, you're not going to find it here. There's a different sharh that provides you that. Okay? Inshallah. So when do you do this type of wudu? You only do the faridah, the fara'id of wudu when you are stranded with time. That's what we said. After that, the last one, and but not least, or the last but not least, which is the eighth one, he says, وَثَامِنُهَا تَرْتِيبُ فَرَائِضِهِ. It is to follow an order when you're doing the fara'id of wudu. Not the sunan of wudu, not the sunan of wudu. You notice that some of them, if you look at the sharh, وَأَمَّا تَرْتِيبُ سُنَنِهِ بَعْضُهَا مَعَ بَعْضٍ أَوْ مَعَ الْفَرَائِضِ فَهُوَ مُسْتَحَبٌّ وَهَذَا هُوَ الْأَصَحُّ. When it comes to the sunan of wudu, putting them all in order according to how we've learned them and how you follow along with the actual wudu, it is mustahab. It is good. Something that is liked by the sharia. Understood? Lakin is not a sunnah. That's for the sunnah. But when it comes to the fara'id, it is a sunnah to follow an order. Does that make sense? So for mathalan, I wasn't at home yesterday. I had a darura, I had to go out. Then I passed by a mall so that I can get to do wudu. And there's no wudu area, but there's only somewhere to pray. There's no one around. What choice was I left with? What did I have to do? Wash my feet first. And then do the rest later. Don't. Repeat again. When I was in the mall, you mean this one, isn't it? Yeah. When I was in the mall, the area does not have a wudu facility. It only has somewhere where you can pray. Not even a prayer area. There's no prayer facility. There's no one around. And because it is a sunnah to follow fard, the fara'id of wudu, following them in order, I had the choice to do what first? Washing my feet. And then do the rest. But while I wash my feet, do I just wash my feet, then make the intention as I begin with my face? Or does it start with the feet? As I started with my feet, I make the intention straight away. Because it's the beginning of wudu. That doesn't make sense to people a lot, does it? Let me tell you. I'll make this very simple and you'll understand. In the Hanafi madhab, in the Shafi'i madhab, I don't know about the Hanbali madhab, as far as I know, and according to what I've learned a little bit from the other madhahib, following the order of wudu, it is a fard. It's compulsory, you must.
In the Hanafiya لا بأس به لا ترتب فيه.
لا, in the Hanafi, there's no order.
It's not a problem, you can do it.
It's not a problem.
لا بأس به.
There you go. See, we are friends with the Hanaf when it comes to that. Understood?
لأن في آية في القرآن
أيوة.
فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم.
أيوة.
الواو بين الكلمتين.
نعم.
الواو هنا
لا يقتضي الترتيب. أيوة. وهكذا عندنا نفس الشيء. الواو لا يقتضي الترتيب. There is no ترتيب on it. لكن عند الشافعية you must. الموالاة there is. So for us, because there is no tartib in the faridah, what do? You can change around the order. Don't get me wrong, that's full odd. But if the Sharia has given you a rukhsa, what do? You follow. No, it's even without a darura. Because let's say, for example, you went to do wudu. You're in your bathroom or the wudu area. Accidentally, you jump the hands. Do I have to go back and start again afresh? Or do I just do my hands? Yeah. The dhira'. مثلا, I forgot that is the dhira', yes. I forgot the entire hand. مثلا. But then at the end of my wudu, I didn't do my hands. What do? Just wash the hands. لكن عند المذاهب الأخرى, what do? You start again. Do you see the difficulty? Come on guys, become Maliki, it'll be easy. Yeah, but I'll catch you on this. In the Lahnaf, all of the sunan, basically the nawafil before salah and after salah, ba'diyya and qabliyya, you must. And you should not miss. I remember one of my in-laws' relatives, basically, his cousins. He got married to, mashallah, an Asian family. Very strict Ahnaf. Well, this is what happened. The brother does not have enough fiqh. And he's not a Hanafi, he's a Shafi'i. Now he goes to a family where sunnah to them is literally same thing as a fard. After salah, he doesn't do the sunnah. Look at the punishment that comes after that. And then he gets the same trouble from his wife. I told him, you're a miskin because you didn't want to study. You come and study, you save yourself. You don't study, you're going to stay in this problem every day. So I had to tell him a little bit and understand, look, according to your madhab, it's not a wajib. عند الحنفية we have fard and wajib. To them this is more or less a wajib. For us, it's not even a sunnah mu'akkada even.
أكثرهم سنة مؤكدة عند الحنفية.
Sunnah mu'akkada.
قبل أن
For us, it's not. For us, it's وَيُنْدَبُ النَّفْلُ فَوَاضِفْ فِعْلَهُ. It's just a nafl. And a nafl is literally very low. You let go of it, it's not a problem. Does that make sense? Yes.
There's another example you gave. You said you washed your feet first.
Yeah.
Because in the matin it says you have to do it quickly.
Mm.
So did you keep your feet wet while you done the rest?
Yeah, I had to step on my shoes. You can leave your feet wet and you carry on. Yes. Okay? Well, let's carry on with the fada'il, with the fada'il al-wudu. وأما فضائل الوضوء وأما فضائله فسبعة. The Musannif rahimahullah ta'ala, he says the meritorious acts. What are the meritorious acts which are below the sunnah now? Why do we call them meritorious acts? Because they hold a merit to a position where now you will be rewarded. You have the perfect wudu if you fulfill these as well. So number one, he says at-tasmiyah, beginning with the basmala, bismillah, and then you do what? You do your wudu. That's very simple. We don't need to explain what if I do the basmala in the shuru', or maybe I've already started then I say the basmala. Is that okay? Remember, at the end of the day, this is a fadila. وَإِنِ اخْتَلَفَ الْعُلَمَاء فِي هَذَا الْأَمْرِ. Even if the ulama, they've differed on this, it disputed on it, we shouldn't be worrying about it. Just know to start with the basmala. You miss it, your wudu is fine. Just don't miss your intention, inshallah. Okay? Number two, al-mawdi'u tahir, a clean place.
Compulsory to say it even when you started in the process of doing it and you remember.
Hmm?
Isn't it compulsory to say it even when you are in the process of completing it?
It's not compulsory, no. It's not compulsory to say it, but you could say it, it's fine. Yes.
I think about an hadith that says if someone knows wudu and probably is been doing it for quite a while and doesn't mention the name of Allah, the wudu is not valid. I think about an hadith like that way back.
No. According to the madhab, and if you read the Muwatta of Imam Malik, he provides the ahadith, but then he doesn't mention it to say your wudu will become invalid. But actually the other hadith will surpass that. In regards to yes.
The hadith didn't specify the wudu. It just said that كل أمر يكون ببال ما لا يبدأ بسم الله فهو عجز.
He's using a different hadith. He's specifying it. But this كل أمر ذو بال لم يبتدأ بسم الله فهو أبتر أو فهو أقطع. Yeah, that hadith that one is general for everything. That one is general for everything. Which means if you do not say Bismillah, if we follow that hadith, then it actually means you're losing out from the barakah of wudu. You're losing out from the barakah of the wudu itself. Like your wudu does not invalidate itself because of the Bismillah. It's like, for example, you eat your food. Would your food become haram if you don't say Bismillah? And if you want to eat haram food and you say Bismillah, would you make it halal?
There was a hadith Prophet said every in their heart is a Bismillah. There's also a hadith stating that. So that doesn't mean you don't have to pronounce it. It's in there.
But then what about if you want to say Bismillah and you're in the toilet? What do you do? I'll leave that as a homework. Yes.
A question to that one. So mostly in here, so we do wudu in the bathroom, or bathroom, sometimes toilet and bathroom together. So we still say Bismillah in the time?
I'll give you only this.
Because in this country, the Muslims like that one.
I'll just give you one thing. In the sharh over here, when it comes to tahara, he says, فَيُكْرَهُ الْوُضُوءُ فِي بَيْتِ الْخَلَاءِ. It is disliked to do wudu in a house where there is a toilet. Understood? ولو طاهرا, even if it's clean, بأن كان جديدا, and that house is an empty house. That house is an empty house. We're talking about an empty house. We're not even talking about the toilet or whatever. Do you get what I mean? And if you do wudu in an empty house, it's makruh. Then how about saying Bismillah in the toilet? Do you get my point? Doing the basmala in the toilet, would it be, understand this, an empty house, the ulama explain, is a house built, not lived yet at all, the jinn will live there first. That's why you do dua first. You don't just enter a house, a new house, and then there's nothing. You say, oh, new house, enter. Mate, and now you're going to sleep. I'm being honest. You want to hear people walking around your house? Then do that. Have you ever had those spooky nights? Now sometimes you leave your room, you go to the bathroom, and you end up finding the taps are open. Then you look for who opened it, there's no one. Have you had that? Have you ever sat down? Have you ever sat down watching TV and you hear people walking? Okay. So let me ask you this. If doing wudu in a new built home, it is makruh, a home that has not been lived in ever before, and this is it's a completely new home, fully furnished and everything, but nobody has lived there before, it's makruh. Then how can we compare that with the toilet? And we know that khalawat, empty spaces like those, the toilets and all of them, they are places for shayateen. Now, if those places, if you mention what? If you mention Allah, would that be correct? Now, let me give you what the matin is, another matin. من آداب قضاء الحاجة ونحي ذكر الله حتما في الخلاء واستحسن سترا وبعدا في الفلاء. ونحي ذكر الله, mentioning Allah, step away from that. Hatman, you have to. We said the word hatm is similar to the word. You shouldn't tell them.
I'm sorry.
You shouldn't tell them. You heard it. Khalas. What's the other word after wajib? Come on, seriously. What's the other word? What's the other word? Jazakumullah khairan. Third fard. Khalas. وَنَحِي ذِكْرَ اللَّهِ حَتْمًا فِي الْخَلْقِ. He gave you the blueprint. And then you guys, oh, now I know. MashaAllah. Jazakumullah khairan, habibi. وَنَحِي ذِكْرَ اللَّهِ حَتْمًا فِي الْخَلَاءِ. So yes, don't mention Allah's name while you're in the toilet. How could you mention Allah's name while you're doing wudu? Understood? Khairah, let's carry on, let's finish off this what we have. We want to finish the fada'il before we end the class, inshallah. وَأَمَّا فَضَائِلُهُ فَسَبَعَةٌ. We said that the first one is at-tasmiyah, which is saying Bismillah. The second one is al-mawdu'u al-tahir, a clean place. خَشْيَةً أَن يَتَنَجَّسَ مِنْ رَشَاشِهِ. When you're doing wudu, you try to do wudu in a clean place. You don't just do wudu anywhere. Especially if you know you have a bathroom that is used by children a lot. You have children, little children. Try to avoid doing your wudu on the little sink and that. Try going into the main bath. Understood? Or maybe where the shower area is. It becomes much easier. The other areas, the children do susu on the floor. Come on. That's what they do. Yeah, the bath is easier to deal with. وَثَالِثُهَا, number 3, قِلَّةُ الْمَاءِ بِلَا حَدٍّ. It is to use a little bit of water, but there is no limitation on that. That doesn't make sense, does it? Using a little bit of water, but it doesn't make sense. Because he says losing a little bit of water without putting any limit. Does it make sense? Should we have a limit? But I don't have a limit. It depends on how I want to use the water. That's not the case. Jazakumullah khairan. I like that, yes.
I think it does. At times when some people start making wudu, they use like lots of water. Probably you can use to probably wash yourself.
That's the minor example now. Jazakumullah khairan. I really appreciate what you've thought of. It is correct. But what's the main? This is the main. He says, لا برطل ولا برطلين. There's no liter or 2 liters. That's what it is. ولكن يقلل منه ما استطاع. Okay? وَيُحْكِمُ بِهِ الْغَسْلَ وَلَا يُبَدِّدُهُ. What do? You try to lessen the amount of water that you use as much as you could. This is where it lies. My body size is different from another one's body size. Understood? I am too big. There's someone that might be literally a tenth of my size. A tenth of my size, that's a person in the grave anyways. Understood? So basically someone might be very small in size. How much do they require? Maybe literally quarter of a liter. Maybe I require a whole liter to do wudu. Simple example. Yes, I don't require a whole liter, but I'm just giving you a simple example. Someone who is very small than me requires only quarter of a liter. Myself, I might require a whole liter. But then you find someone that is extremely big, they require nearly 3 liters to do wudu. How do you put a limit on water? Because if we put a limit on water as in 1 liter, this is what happens next. The person that needs 3 liters will be left out. Wouldn't be able to complete their wudu, isn't it?
I think as minimum.
Yes. Jazakumullah khairan. So there is no, yes.
Isn't it from the sunnah to use like a wood?
Yeah, but people don't use muds nowadays. We're going to mention it here. We're going to mention it here. Now, let's carry on. He says now over here, وَقَدْ تَوَضَّأَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ بِمُدٍّ. The Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, he did wudu with a mud. It's the cup that he used to use. He had enough opening at the top. That's what he would use to even measure the weight of food, to give out for zakah, and to show the ummah how to give out for any penalties as well. Mathalan, what penalty is there for you to give out using a mud? What type of penalty could you think of that you have to give out food?
It's for fasting. If you're going to feed someone.
Why should you feed anyone on fasting?
If you fall under the condition of people, for example, ill health, and they're not going to fast, you feed someone.
بارك الله فيكم. كمرضع خافت على الرضيع. And then he says, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ ثَمَّ سِوًى لِلظِّيرِ. No, على الرضيع, no, that one. وحامل تخشى على Yes. Allah subhanallah, I forgot the word. Yeah, but that's what he's saying. He's using كمرضع خافت على الرضيع. The one who is literally breastfeeding, for example, they can't fast. Then another Ramadan comes in. What happens then? Do they fast the days only, or do they fast the days and give out a penalty on top? And those are not going to be covered in here. Not all of them, just some of them. Okay? Let's carry on. And then we say now number 4, وَوَرَابِعُهَا وَضْعُ الْإِنَاءِ عَلَى الْيَمِينِ إِنْ كَانَ مَفْتُوحًا. Placing the ina, your utensil that you're using, on your right if it's it has an open neck. If you're using a bottle, you don't have to. You can hold it on your left, pour it on your right, and do wudu. Does that make sense? حمله على اليسرى وماذا وصب الماء على اليمنى. That's what you do. لكن if إن كان مفتوحا, if the top of it is open, then you place the utensil on your right so that you may take water like that. لجلب الماء مثلا. Understood? Then he carries on. وخامسها الغسلة الثانية والثالثة. الغسلة الثانية والثالثة. Now question is, الغسلة الثانية والثالثة means the second washing and the third washing. Some of the ulama say that the third and the second, they're all sunnah. لكن الأصح والأرجح, the one which is correct, is that actually the second and the third is mustahab. It is liked. But the correct sunnah one is marratan wahida. Only once. Doing it once is the sunnah. And if you decide to do it 0, then you don't even have wudu. Understood? Because it's a sunnah. Now this tells you something. It tells you that even if one would look down upon a sunnah and say, it's just a sunnah, I'll let go of it. Look at how the sunnah is connected to the fard. That's why there is a point to say You cannot ignore قال الله and قال Rasul. Because if Allah has told you, فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ لِلْمَرَافِقِ, the sunnah has taught you that washing one time is the sunnah. So if you don't wash that one time, would you even complete the fard that is required from you? So what is it? The word of Allah and the word of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what do? You can't say the sunnah comes below. No. In terms of sources, primary sources that we use, then yes, the sunnah comes after the Quran. But in terms of implementation, not even for a day, hasha wa kali, like this, together. لأن السنة توضح القرآن. Understood? The sunnah is what makes the Quran clear. Without it, you wouldn't understand. Allah just said, أقيموا الصلاة. At least on wudu, He gave you a blueprint. But establishing salah, there's nothing about going down on ruku', standing up 4 times. Understood? So because those standing up and going like that, that's a sunnah. But the fard is standing on salah. So if you neglect that sunnah, would you even pray? There will be no prayer. So you got to understand the sunnah and the fard, they go together, inshallah. لذلك الإمام الشافعي رحمه الله تعالى, what did he say? He says that من حفظ الحديث قوي حجته. The one who memorized hadith, his hujjah does not just become solid. You can never beat that person. Understood? So my advice for students of knowledge, this day and age that we live in today, as Allah has reached us, put us into a position where our ancestors, they have done the work, now we are left with their fruits. We cannot add anything extra now. It's just a matter of expansion according to the time that we live in. Maybe there are issues that might come up which have not appeared before. Does that make sense? COVID happened. It didn't exist before. But COVID is a similar case of those other cases of having certain outbreaks of, let's say, diseases and all of that existed at the time. Khalid ibn al-Walid, he lost a lot of his children at the time when there was ta'un. Some of you know that already, isn't it? So they built the corona case upon a previous case, which there is a precedence basically. That's what they say. Precedence. Yeah, Precede, not prezi, with a C. Precedence, yeah. But I'll say president because we don't have a president in this country. We have a prime minister over here. Understood? Built upon a precedence. There's a case that existed and they used that. Now what happened is the ulama, they still go back referring to that for new cases that appear. Is really would you ever find a case happening today that has not existed before, or there is no case at least linking them together? Very difficult. The cycle of life repeats itself just like that. Understood? So you first memorize the mutun, you build on that, then you go and expand on the mutun, and then later on, according to the madhab that you're learning, which will open the doors for other madhab, you can now memorize hadith as well. But you only memorize those hadith when you are at that level, not when you're a beginning student. If you're a beginning student, you only need hadith which will literally strengthen your heart. Understand? You need hadith which will strengthen your heart, such as Al-Arba'un al-Nawawiyya, the 40 hadiths of Al-Nawawi, you memorize those. After that, you can memorize some portion of Riyadh al-Salihin, and then now you can go there a little bit and see if you can memorize some hadith of Ahkam. But then you don't delve into it. You become a student of your field, then you build on that. After you finish that, that's when you go to the main hadith. If you want to understand that, that's a whole chapter which will plan an entire class, bi'idhnillah al-kareem, maybe online, specifically in Ma'had Mustafa, not in the masjid, not anywhere specific. Mustafa's academy. For people that want to understand how to take ilm from one stage to another, we'll plan that and I'll let Adam and Al-Amin know, and then they will let the rest know. Understood? But I'll charge each head £200. Everybody is laughing. Okay, I'll charge him how many? 200 for every head. 200. You're gonna pay? Don't worry, it's gonna be for free. All right, let's carry on, inshallah. Now, وضع الإناء على اليمين إن كان مفتوحا. وخامسها, we finished that as well. وسادسها, that he provides here. Actually, the text over here provides that there are only 7. While in reality, according to أسهل المسالك, it's beyond that. أما فضائله فعشر تذكر. There are 10. Understood? There are 10. In some other places even beyond that. Some of them go even up to 12 and beyond. But over here we have only 7, inshallah, which are the more important. Now, if you look at the 6th one, he says, وسادسها البدء بمقدم الرأس. أيوة. من منبت الشعر. البدء بمقدم الرأس. To start from the beginning of the head. Now, starting from the beginning of the head when it comes to wiping your head, is it a sunnah, is it a fard, or is it a fadila? Which one? It's a fadila. Barakallahu feekum. It's a fadila. Starting from the beginning. But starting from anywhere is a fard. Fard. Starting from anywhere is a fard. But repeating from going back to where you started basically is a sunnah. Allah yaftah alayk. Simple as that, inshallah. وسابعها, the 7th one, is as-siwaku, is to use a miswak. Understood? While you're doing that. And what does that do? They say that it doesn't just clean your gums, clean your teeth, and make your mouth become fresh, and your breath and that. It says that وَيَجْلُ الْبَصَرِ وَيَشُدُّ اللَّثَّةِ. Understood? When you brush your teeth, it even clarifies the fog in your mind. You speak what you think.
Beginning or
No, you can do at the beginning of wudu, yes. Whereas even when you stand in the musalla mathalan, and you're leading salah, or maybe you're standing as a ma'mum, you can just touch and the khalas. But you don't go busy while you're standing on the land. Come on. I've seen some people do that, and they're busy chewing the miswak. I find it very strange when they do that. Understood? So you use that as well. But best to use it at the very beginning of wudu, inshallah ta'ala. Why do the ulama say, one second, yeah? Why do the ulama say that it clears your sight, it clears your thought? Why does it do so? Because you only utter what comes from here. If this part is not clean, would you be thinking clearly in here, or would you be busy thinking about how rough my mouth is? That's just one example. All right? It's like you want to have a very active day, but yet you don't want to wake up, take a shower. Would you have the active day? You wouldn't. Barakallahu feekum. So this is the end of wudu. Inshallah ta'ala, in the next class, we're going to start straight away into the fara'idul ghusl, the obligations of ghusl, showering, inshallah, and then build it from there. And I want us to finish off, just a second, if we can finish off this by the next class, and then see after that, we start with tayammum, and after tayammum we get into salah. However, if I can rush the ghusl, the showering, with tayammum together, and then go all the way to salah immediately after the next class, I will try my best to do so, that's what I'm looking forward to. Alright? Jazakumullahu khairan. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Now you have a question first, your second, your third. Is it answered? You answered?
No, really, there's no question.
Huh?
There's no question.
There's no question? Okay. Yes.
What's the difference between the sunnah acts and the
Fadail acts. Yes. In the madhab, we have something called sunnah, something called nadb, mandub.
I thought we covered this before, sorry.
No.
Covered it in another lesson.
I remember doing so, I'm not sure. I think it was the previous lesson. It's fine. Look, even if you forgot something from what we did previously, ask. It's best you ask and not ask. And there is no issue. That's the reason why you have a class. You've asked me questions of classes which you haven't even covered yet. Haven't you?
and it's free.
Exactly. All for free. The sunnah is higher than a mandub. And a mandub is that which لم يواظب عليها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He did do it, but he لم يعتني بها كثيرا. He did not live on it so much compared to the sunnah. The sunnah can have two characteristics, although the ulama, they differed on this. Characteristic number one, واظب عليها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, he lived on doing it. Which takes us to characteristic number two. Number two is that which he did, he either did it publicly so much, so frequently, or he didn't do it publicly, but he did do it a lot. It was so frequent that he did it as if it was a fard, but actually it was a sunnah. Understood? But a mandub is I wouldn't say hit and miss, but it's something that he would do often, but he would miss and it wouldn't be an issue. Now when it comes to مثلا when the sunan of wudu, we've mentioned them already. وقل ثمان عدة المسنون فابدأ بغسل اليد للكوعين تمضمض غسل اليدين. Yes. Allah, I forgot the other lines. But then he says ومسح وجه كل أذن فرضه وجدد الماء ورتب فرضه. Yes. He mentions all of that. That's the sunnah of. But when it comes to the sunnah of salah, which ones do we have? وَالسُنَنُ الْمُؤَكَّدَاتُ أَرْبَعُ. The sunnah of salah which we know, which we have, they're only four. The first one is al-witr. Al-witr أولاها. Salat al-witr for us is a sunnah must. وثانيها العيد على الرجال. صلاة العيد العيدين. ثالثها الكسوف. صلاة الكسوف. الرابع صلاة الاستسقاء. لكن the rest, even khusuf and also all the other salah, all of them are just mandub. So a mandub is that which, even if you don't do it, you're fine. It's not an issue. It's below that, although you still get rewarded.
So if you were to come across a hadith that said that the Prophet ﷺ did something, you wouldn't really know if it falls into the sunnah of the ba'id until
Now,
the teachers explain to you this is more the frequency of the action.
جزاكم الله خيرا. لذلك قال عبد الله بن المبارك. Abdullah al-Mubarak was told, he was asked, if إن وجدت كتابا تتعظ به, if you find a book that you can find some موعظة ذكرى inside it, some remembrance of Allah, what do you do? He said, read it. He would ask, أما الفقه, what about fiqh? He says, لا يستقيم إلا بالسماع. Fiqh does not stand until you literally than your rukab. You have to put your knees on the ground to the teacher. It doesn't matter what Arabic you know. Does that make sense? Because this is what you need to understand. You can study Arabic throughout your entire life, but then the Arabic itself divides to 23 sets of Arabic. How? To the 23 sciences that exist, which literally complement the book of Allah. Allahu Akbar. The Arabic that you learn in mantiq, completely different, basically the science of logic, completely different from the Arabic that you learn in tafsir. The Arabic that you learn in tafsir is completely different from the Arabic that you learn in fiqh. And in fiqh, every single madhab has its own language. Because in hadith, if you say ma rawahu shaykhan, who are the shaykhan in hadith? Bukhari and Muslim. لكن ما رواه الشيخان على حسب مذهب الشيخان in the madhab. If you look at the Hanafi school, then it's Abu Yusuf and Muhammad al-Shaybani. For us it's different. Does that make sense? All of that is Arabic.
So is it wrong to say that when you hear a hadith and you know how we always say, oh, this is the Prophet and this is the sunnah, then because it's the sunnah.
No, if it is a sunnah, it is a sunnah.
If you don't know, you just heard it.
It's a sunnah.
But it's like, it's like sometimes when we're in discussions with someone, the reason I'm wearing this color, the reason I'm doing it is because it's the sunnah. We always say it because it's the sunnah.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But if you want to use it as a hujjah against a brother or anyone around you, because you're trying to say that you are حامل السنة من يدفع على السنة, you literally stand for the sunnah and protect it, don't lie to yourself.
We have in the Hanafiya, they say the sunnah divided into two. We have sunnah al-huda and sunnah al-ziyada.
Which is the other sunnah.
Exactly. So that's defined as ziyada in terms of.
Now see, just listen to those simple terms. You're told Surah Al-Huda, you have to look for it. Surah Al-Ziyada, you have to look for it. Whereas that same thing to us, it's a Sunnah Mu'akkada and Mandub. Two different things. Does that make sense? Now, Habib, you had a question.
This last area, this basmala, using clean water. So
Yes.
what's so ending of this particular one?
Ah?
This particular part we treated last. I mean, basmala, using clean water, using little water. So what's the end? Is it like?
What level?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean the title of it.
Those basmala and the rest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those are below the sunnah.
Yeah. So what's the technical term for this one? Is it fadail? Is it?
Yeah, they're fadail, yeah. Yeah, fadail. Below the sunnah is fadail. Yeah, below the sunnah is fadail. Inshallah. Yeah, it could be mustahab.
الحنفية يستعمل مستحب.
Mustahab. For us, we use fadail, although you find in the text, in the sharh, it repeats mustahab as well. So it's fine as well.
Either way, yeah. When you use مستحب,
Jazakumullah khair. Yes. You wanted to ask something? All right, you guys take care of yourselves, inshallah, and I'll see you next week. And in regards to the webinar, if any one of you is interested, you will find it I'll send the website out, inshallah. Once the landing page is ready, anytime soon, I'll send it to the brothers, and the brothers will share it with the rest of you, and the rest of you would invite others as well, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
That's why he said he's not coming. Yeah, because you want to enjoy it. A lot of people. But you will do something, inshallah.
How are you, sir? Okay. Nice to see you. How's your son?
Still allowed to pray if I put like a plastic sheet on the floor. Then put my prayer mat on top of that. Me and the man, I'm bored fishing one because the prayer mat, you take it out, and then you like don't black prayer mat. My nearest hospital was like one of the graves, like half an hour away from where the road is. I said, I missed the Friday prayers and I'm working. The Friday prayers where I'm working or not, or that's not salah. There's so much great situations where I'm working. Speech. Thank you. Do an extra set.
These القطعية only from
Was a 30-year-old smoker. Everything you touch is like
when they say why did
glue
you
everything.
actually
You
different
never seen it.
the other
Touch the settings when I first got it.
about everything from
Oh, yeah, the veg shop.
because what they use in Hanafi we have
I'm just finishing that one and then I'm going to Marble Arch.
the books that you study, so you understand mutlaq, muqayyad,
I'm learning the trade, I'm plastering.
these are the
I'm learning how to plaster.
qawaid.
You can go.
So when you study
I'm
this
charged for a
qawaid,
plaster per day.
and that's how
£300
they
a day.
use the addiction in
I
evidence.
go on the hell day every
Anything
month.
so this verse indicate for khas. So what does it mean khas? Meaning the khas, that's literal meaning, nothing wrong.
Granddad's wallpaper, mum's wallpaper in the 60s.
Will give you indication of faith.
Windows.
So that, so you probably lost it. When they say in their book, Am Khas, they're actually saying, these Am Khas in the Quran, lead to the Quran. Shafi would say no. Am Khas can be
Put a bit of victim in if you know. You don't smell that old people smell. That's what
but
we do.
Maliki would say,
That's
well,
what we put victim on our noses.
and Maliki have the hadith of the Hamad ibn bring it, practice it over the hadith.
Okay. Then come and do
So we leave it at that. No,
Every time you see the break,
we leave it at that. Hamad is practicing it. They will sometimes practice in Medina,
circulation in the body, you're just breathing dirty air.
they will say, Imam Malik would say, I've seen my ustad, what he's doing in found that's the evidence can taken as a regular the Hanafi said Hanafi said Quran is absolute and the rest of the
change the meaning. That's very, very important.
in a nutshell, you that's going to be right at the so but in Malik we have an expert so Hanafi didn't take down Amal should be individual. How can you define that? Imam Malik said we have 80 of the man all linked up. So he made it so hard. Said, well, Amal al-Kufa. I could have taken Amal al-Kufa. And he realized the Kufa was actually more
Yes. I'm just posing
No,
myself. So dirty.
the land that none of them.
Touch the top of the door.
But the capital of Medina, the first capital was Medina. At the time of the Amal, they taken but the land has been opened by Uthman ibn Affan. Because we know there's a garrison in the army so that shows actually quite
Because when you do
bundle of everything that lends been opened by us.
Same thing.
they don't do plumbing, they don't do electrical work.
Your sister or each is going to take down leader is to have less teach. But then one of them
I just don't look at it. I just put it in the bank. Lease.
your
No, I've got this man money. So I'm looking at it in 5 years' time.
So then
Like my council place.
you then take
The council has to pay. I would figure out if you need to buy the property.
because you didn't have a setup
You got knocked. Because you don't buy 2
number
flats.
like
It's
you
rented
wouldn't
out.
Philistine,
Maybe free.
then he was a young child, taking his
I
mother
thought I
to
would let it short one day.
so then he met in the
Mortgage down there, just sell that one.
then he actually ended up in Baghdad with Imam Shafi'i, who was a student of Imam Khalifa. And that's why Imam Shafi'i had two mothers. One was Kabir, one was Kabir. Then he moved to the East.
Air frying all my food is fine. Go on, James, I just live for eating.
The earlier Muslims
All my bills are paid for. Anyone comes to
spend time with them.
only can talk. They don't.
Whereas when the incident happened, you know,
Don't wear
the cause
designer clothes.
And he tried
What's the mistaking grammar?
and the Khalifa had
Big
he
mistake.
raised revoked it. So then it's been handed punishment, and Imam Shaybani so he actually rescued him.
Speaking like
So what I mean is he was so close to the
this is not
how punishment.
this is like
Shaybani used to put his student and I was saying when we hear that Shaitan,
You don't let me do
because Imam was
speak properly.
and they used to worship immediately on
Two words I don't understand.
we were heading
I know you raise up our language, I shouldn't have used
but the most important for us was about Aqidah and you will see
yes, that's why
on your head. Even if you don't understand
yes, he's teaching on
the distraction. You take one. I was trying to Mustafa
you got to learn.
Yeah, pick it up.
You're in Bangladesh, you've got to learn.
No, you don't need to learn. She's just like the whole way in English. So you can have it.
You say salam alaikum first.
See, you're different. You're English more than this one, I don't know what that
جزاك الله يا شيخ فضيلة الشيخ.
الله يبارك. Because I do mechanics. This one's lazy. Which one? Smacked up. It's just like country.
Alhamdulillah, yourself?
You feel the box. You feel the box with black.
It's a good sign. Yeah, coming to the end, isn't it? Go this world sometimes. To go there, we don't want to come back same like them. Oh, give me a chance, isn't it? We need to work hard to prepare. That's why I'm saying that. That's why not as that 15 years.
Yeah, but it's not three. One night it's always is it three?
I'll then check. Oh, dear. Oh, we had an inspection. I have to get everything ready. No inspection. Because I'm working with a lot of refugees now. This country, accommodation provided, service.
Now they came on the Alexander Van take that. Alexander Van I got the same. Yes, we did this stage.
There's an inspection there. like there's a problem, but they
Which is the security
fix it. Have to go and fix it.
So you try to discuss.
Big job. Alhamdulillah.
Instead of just explaining,
I manage, since I take over, I manage to clear their web list. Even my manager was telling me this. Alhamdulillah. You know, Nancy, the person in the phone and they said that a big every day I have to give it this in time because in the finished now because I was also crystal body cam. They are only
এখান দিয়ে এটা এমন করো বাতিল যে করো অসুবিধা নেই
আগে তোমার সাথে
অসুবিধা কি
এই জন্য দেশ পাইয়েছে এই যে ভাই ওয়ার্ল্ডের মধ্যে চ্যাম্পিয়ন কান্ট্রি
বলতেছে না পদ্মা সেতু বানাইতে কত খরচ সুবিধা ফ্যাক্টর না পদ্মা সেতু হয়ে গেছে কত কোটি টাকা খরচ এটা কোনো ব্যাপার না ফ্যাক্টর এখানে আমার কাজ করে গেছে
কত কোটি টাকা 10 কোটি টাকা 40 কোটি টাকা yo কত না পয়লা বিশ্ব কিন্তু কত
they have to to change like they did in Africa, in India. I don't know this country will be rich.
I have no sympathy for this.
Yes.
I have no sympathy because when they know that there is immigration, I have no sympathy because you want to be
দেখি না দেখি আর কি বলে একবার ওই দেখি না
you had a victim. Imam is one. They had
अन्य को से
ঘরের পানি উঠছে এতে
যারা হলো দাঁড়িয়ালা
যার আসার পরে ফসল আগে থেকে বর্ষা শুরু হবে ফসল উৎপাদন ক্ষমতা শুরু করবে মেঘের কারণে অধিক বৃষ্টি মোকামকল করতে পারবে আর
Responsible.
ম্যাক্সিমাম
Last week, he complained. Food is there are rooms and mice coming. The brush when they do.
lamba dari saya ko kai jamila pani do jar pani ha
They always sleep like this.
so pani de tibol jol ke sangari manche mati minum loge
Because I was putting this in my brain. Sleeping. Some good guys, they are doctors. Footballer. He's a professional footballer. They for the tournament. So they stay there, they move into the line, move into it, one to the club. It's happy. There are some causing too much trouble. You know what? They cover the smoke alarm. They smoke in their room. Some of them are so for them distressed, they put fire in their room. It's not easy. It's not easy. So some of them, you know, they blows fire alarm. You know, when you press the intentionally, they press this to bring their friend. Security go to check everything. They bring their friend. Yeah, but the only solution to stop this work away is to go back to Egypt. When you go back to EU, you will give France 500 million every year to protect the border like we did before. And that's it. I think that's going to happen now. The biggest mistake, isn't it? Withdraw. Yes, I'm going to have my chicken in my backyard and